Trish and Fabrice, thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure to talk about our experience. Before we start, I just wanted to say a few words about our journey with Fluid Topics. We worked with Fluid Topics from past 2 years, and they have taken us to the next level that we always wanted to achieve. It's not the end of the journey for us. We have a long way to go, and we expect this partnership that we have with Fluid Topics will help us help our team and my company to the next level of content experience. So let me introduce myself. As Trish very kindly introduced me, my name is Jyoti Ramchandra. I have been with Hitachi for quite some time. I manage the technical publications for Hitachi Vantara, and I have a strong 45-member team spread across globally. We have Japan, we have US, we have India, and we have in UK. And let me move on. So we want to talk about who we are and what we do. It's very important when you start with your presentation. It's all about why we are here and what do we do, because at the end of the day, it's all about the company and the company content that you want to share with your users. So we are Hitachi Vantara, the name prefix Hitachi. Well, all of us know about it, and we are part of the overall Hitachi Corporation. We are headquartered here in the US, and we are the ones who provide the data infrastructure and hybrid cloud services that help organization manage and store and analyze their data. So basically, we get a platform for everyone who wants to take the data storage. So if you see on the left-hand corner, these big data centers, you may be seeing a whole lot of these. We actually provide this service. We actually provide the hardware and the software to manage data centers. And on top of it, all the data. So most of your applications that you're running in-house, externally, we actually provide data for those applications to run. We are also big on AI and right, left, and center. We all know AI is part of our life right now, part of your discussions, part of your meetings, and big data and cloud solutions. And cloud has been pretty important for us, especially from the time COVID hit and all the companies started looking at having their data moved over to cloud, a part of it, and also have the data replication from on-premise to cloud and back. So that's about the company, Hitachi Vantara. Again, we are part of the overall Hitachi Corporation. We are a technical publications team. I started this meeting by saying I have a strong 45-member team here. We are a shared services group. You may ask, what is a shared services? What does that mean? That we provide technical publication services, which is nothing but creating content for all products and solutions that comes out of Hitachi Vantara. Everything that's developed here internationally within Hitachi, we take care of all the content durables. And we need to have a mission, because when you have a group, it's all about what are we planning to do? How do we, as part of the entire Hitachi Corporation, come together to deliver? So ours is mostly and pretty straightforward, and I think all of you also have this mission and a line around it. It is about the championing customer success by delivering world-class information experience. More specifically, provide users with relevant product information, the right time in the right format. And this hasn't changed. This was our mission way back and has been a mission now and going forward. At the end of the day, it's all about helping your customers and be proactive and making sure that they have the right content at the right time. And what is our journey with content experience? Today's meeting is all about that. The webinar is all about that. How did we achieve? How are we aligning with our mission? Are we there? Do we have any guardrails? And has it always been that we had some experience and now we are moving ahead and forging ahead with something different? So we all start with, why do we have this experience? It all starts off with a business problem. At every stage in what we do, things are changing, and we know the technology is changing at a very fast pace. right? We have AI coming in and basically disrupting in what we are doing. It's causing a lot of disruption. At the same time, for us is, do we stay away from the disruption, make sure we are not there, or we ride the wave of disruption? And that is the latter part we are doing, is riding the wave of disruption. What can we do to make sure we are ahead of the game or with the game? So our business problem started with, we had documentation, as we all know, and here most of us on the call, we are writers, right? We write very good documentation, and it is important that we write this quality documentation. But when we write, do we have the visibility of this documentation out to our customers? Can customers access this documentation? That's more important. We can all write very well within ourselves, but how do we make that accessible? So the first point is, we have great documentation, all 45 of us in this company, and all of you on the call, you're writing fantastic, effective documentation. But if you're limited by vendor product limitations, especially with a portal, right, that you're pushing it out, but your customers are not able to tap into that, we have a problem. What we are writing doesn't reach our customers, and it affects our user retention rate. And this was our problem. We had two separate sites. With every big company and organization, you have acquisitions and mergers, and it happens very often. So as we acquired more companies, we started bringing them in, and we also started bringing their sites in. And even if we say it's one Hitachi Vantara, all our products have the brand Hitachi Vantara. You may have seen many companies or into mergers and acquisition. They take you to a site, then you jump to another site and a third site and a fourth site. So it was a fractured experience. And then, of course, we had a high bounce rate. We had mixed styles. We did not have time to pull that content into our content development platform. And the navigation was very confusing as you're bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. And as we all know, we have very impatient users. You give them 2 clicks and they say, that's it, I don't want any more. And they move off. Search is very important in everything that we do. We can put in very good documentation, but if people, they can't get to it within the first click or even second click, we have a problem. They will never come and check your content. So poor search capabilities and limited search optimization led to negative user feedback, and many of the registered customers started leaving our site for customer support. Well, that's the total opposite of what we want to do. Case deflection, that's our highest thing. Can we have, and most of our customers, and if you have gone through various CIDM conferences, it's all about self-serve. And all of us, if we have some problems with any of the things that we have at home, the appliances, do we reach a customer? Do we call customer support, which currently is mostly automated with a bot behind? Or do we say, can I go to the website and say, I have a problem with my washer dryer? And you get a response, and you want to try that. And especially if it's coming from, maybe if I have an appliance from Samsung, and if it is a response given from Samsung, I'm going to take that and do it myself, right? So this is exactly what we also wanted to do with our things. Take content, it's coming from us. It is a single source of truth, and go ahead and do it rather than call customer support. And solution was inadequate. We wanted to do a whole lot of things. As we are disruptors in the market, we think differently, we are creative. We wanted a whole lot achieved from the portal. We wanted a mobile experience. We wanted connectors that can take our content, fill into a data lake. All that we wanted to do, and it just didn't give us any features to, expansion of the functionalities. And it lacked the documentation related features and enhancements. So all this led us to say it's time for a tech refresh. And as you all know, in a company and like ours, tech refresh is always considered every 3 to 5 years, right? Because there are too many things that are happening. If your current vendor's platform is not able to match with where the industry is going, we're always looking for a tech refresh. So this was a time for us to say, let's go do a tech refresh.
Can I jump in here? I have a question for you. I mean, your team, you were conscious with your team that you were at the end of a cycle and you needed that tech refresh. But was that analysis shared inside the company and you could be funded because that was something everybody wanted to do, or you had to educate, spread the word internally, convince people so that you get the project funded? Did you have to build a business case? So how do you manage this moment where you understand that you want to do something and your teams wants to do something, but it's not necessarily something that is a shared thing inside the company? How do you manage that moment? And
Yeah.
getting funded is being the moment.
Yeah, very good question. And everyone needs to know that as a team here, we say, hey, we want to go for a tech refresh. Well, there is no money rolling in, right? There's no funding. Everything that you do, this is a different thing. It's not a product release where funding is always there, right? This is something different. So you're right, Fabrice. We had to provide a business rationale, and we had to go all the way to the C-suite members, right? It's not easy. Someone has the budget and say, here you go. We had to come up with a business rationale. We had to tell them what is it that we can't do with our current vendors or current platform, and what we need, what we want. And we had to tell them, even if we go with the bells and whistles, this is not just the bells and whistles that are going to fall off, but it is the bells and whistles that our customers are looking for. So for us to go to funding and stand in front of CFO and say, I want funding, that door is getting closed within a second. We had to come up with a business rationale, and the business rationale came directly from our customers and our users. We asked them, we had quite a few sessions with them, documentation related. It was not a survey monkey that we sent out. We actually went in front of our customer and say, tell me what's wrong. Tell me how we can serve you. And the first thing they said, you have very good documentation, but I just can't reach it. So we took their testimonials and went back to our management and said, this is what, and then what we should do. And then we also went to our customer support and how many calls, the steep raise in calls and things like that. So we did a lot of work. So when we started this project, and 6 of us or 7 of us who were there part of this whole exercise, while they went ahead and started looking into what we can do, I went ahead and went up to the management and started doing these discussions in parallel. And it took a while to get everyone's time. No one has time for you, but they finally found that this is important, and they said, let's go ahead and do it. So it wasn't easy, but it's not impossible.
Okay, now that's interesting because what you describe is first you started with as well surfacing the emotional, then the numbers. See what I mean? It's like the frustration of the user. So you started by making this frustration of your users visible to anyone, and then you link that to numbers and the impact you could have and how you could change that and probably reduce the number of support calls and all that. So you build that with 2 legs in some ways. See what I mean? Emotional and financial. It's like how much can we improve and impact the. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
But
definitely there is a
building
risk
the
involved.
business case and being funded and getting the C-suite attention is always quite a challenge for many companies.
Exactly. And it is a risk, right? I can go and tell them, when you give me the funding, this is what we are going to do. But it's a risk, but it's a trust at the end of the day, right? Everything works on trust. At the end of the day, they found that, yes, we can get it done. And when we get it done, it's not a regression to the current experience. It's actually better than what we are giving.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. So when we say tech refresh, we wanted to, with every project that we do, we need to have a name, right? All of you from within companies, you all have an internal name. And we went huddled and said, we need to come up with a name. And we called ourselves, and we called it, this is a project Kairos. And Kairos, if you look up, I know some of you would, it's a time when conditions are right for the accomplishment of a crucial action. It's an opportune and decisive moment. And this is something that we wanted. This is an accomplishment. This is something that we want to do. And we all huddled and came up with this name, Kairos. We still use this name, and sometimes we share this name externally with our internal stakeholder and say, what's that? But we have come to live with this name, and we're going to use this name, but it's internal only. But our product documentation portal of Hitachi Vantara is not Kairos, it's docs.hitachivantara.com. So here what I'm showing is our old portal. We call this knowledge, and you can see how it was. And as I said, we had two different portals because as we acquired more companies, they came up with their portals and we did not have time, and our existing vendor couldn't give us the same experience. So we had two portals, one, two, and we had others that came in. And then finally, we came up to what we can do as content as a service. That was our motto. What do we mean by content as a service, right? We need to make sure content is the king. Everything else just falls around it.
And
Mm-hmm.
what that moment before starting the project, when you said, okay, we had that and we need another platform, what was your process for gathering your requirements, choosing, evaluating vendors? How do you manage that as well? Because honestly, I can share, not with you, but sometimes we receive like a spreadsheet with 200 questions and you feel that some of them are just like, you don't know why people ask that. So what I mean, how to build that to make, to create something that resonates with your real needs and not like a long list of whatever comes you find. See what I mean? So it's tough to choose. How long did you spend analyzing your needs, turning that into an assessment process? How did you work that out? How was that for you?
Yeah, the portal that we had, we already had a lot of issues. So we used to always document those. Oh, wish we had this. And then we had our wish list, if at all. And, you know, for us, we don't want to work this in a cocoon, right? We also looked at good documentation portals, right? You always start with your competitors and then you look at various ways. Of course, you are not going to AWS, you're not going to eBay, you're not going there because they are a different set of portals. We are more into technical portals, right? So we actually started capturing, and it did not come overnight. This was a built-up issues that we had over a period of time. We can't do this. We have this problem, and the platform that we were looking for, we're not looking for a change from one portal to another. What we were looking for is a development platform that we have a say in what we need to do, and the development platform should give us all the abilities to make it should be API ready. And for us, API first. We are an API first company for our products too. So why don't we have that also for our vendors? We need APIs. And before I go ahead, let me tell you, in my 45-member team, I also have a very strong tools team. We have two of them, two and three. I would say almost three people who are just looking into the delivery part of it, the portal, the APIs. They're very savvy people. They are developers. So looking at all these, we wanted to have our use cases. What do we want to do? So we came up with a set of use cases. As you know, with the passionate people that we have around, it came to a lot of use cases. But when we said, oh, these can't be done the first time we go out, we started off by saying, what is important for our customers? What did we hear back from our customers are the pain points? Let's go figure that out first. That's our priority zero, P0. Then what else that we wanted to add from our huge list of wish list, right? So we started off with that. And as you know, Fabrice, when we came to you, we told you, as with any vendor that we went out with and had an RFP, request for proposal, we made it our show, right? If you go to any vendor, they will give you the sales pitch and sell you the sky, basically, and beyond the sky. We said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to give you what we want from you. Can you deliver? So we went to the presentation, and you remember we sent you like, this is what we want to have a demo. So do not make it a sales pitch. Tell us if you can do this. If you can achieve what we want, then we will have a discussion with you. Otherwise, there is no further discussion. Right? So we were very clear about it. We want this. Can you make it happen? And beyond.
Okay, there was quite a lot of preparation so because I remember the moment you came to us and said, this is what we need, but we were not aware of how you went to that moment and you knew what you wanted, how you created this gathering of requirements, how you managed the team and the expectations internally, and reviewing, for example, as you mentioned, the competition and probably the best practices and say, oh, that makes sense, that would work for us, and started building this vision. And then once you had the vision, only you came to us. Okay, so you build the vision first.
Yes, we build a vision first. It's very important when you're going for getting a product. It is something that is triggering for you to go for a tech refresh. And we had those triggers in place.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to just build up this entire slide. Okay, design thinking. I know a few of you may have heard about it. For us, it was something new. And we said, what is this design thinking? Is it a new buzzword? And we found out that we have a team within Hitachi Vantara and overall within Hitachi product design group. And design doesn't mean they just come up with pretty marks for your products, pretty marks for you in your for your doc portal. It is much beyond that. And if you see on the right-hand side of your screen is that this is a design thinking workshop that I participated. And it is all about bring your things onto the board. And if you see on the board below, this is exactly what happened. The three photographs at the bottom where you see a sticky notes, a big sticky things over there, and the whiteboard, this is our design thinking process for the doc portal launch. We used to meet every quarter. This is the 4 and 5 core team members who also had day jobs like all of us, but still we were passionate enough to meet every 3 months, every quarter, come up and put in what we want to achieve. So if you see all the sticky notes over there, it is all our wish list, what we want to do. Each of us were given a color and we said, this is what we want to do. The wants can be done, cannot be done, and things like that. So we had these workshops, and every time we come quarterly, we used to go back to all these things. So we retained everything. We took photographs, we bring it back, and then we redo again. Are we on the right track? Do we have everything that we need? Because as we go along, 6 months, 9 months, some of the things that you had lofty goals and lofty wishes, and I say, may not be now, maybe P3. Let's go with what is important for P0. So having that visual experience, this is what we thought about 3 months, may not be. We went on changing. And design thinking, if you really look at the definition of design thinking, it's a non-linear and iterative process that teams use to understand users, challenge assumptions. It's very important. You need to challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions to prototype and test. That's important for us. We have to always challenge our assumptions and look at, redesign, and always keep customers right there. What they want is what we need to deliver, not we want how things need to be. So we had a definition in place. Very important. You don't start off a project without what you want to do. So we defined the thing. We had discovery and discussions. So that's our quarterly calls. All of us met. You see some of the pictures over there. And decision. Okay, now we are ready. We cannot always think about, different things. We have a set of use cases that we want to achieve. We have decided on that. Everything else can be just a discussion going forward. And then we have a roadmap and execution. Now that this is where we brought in a project manager. We put everything into a Jira board, so Scrum Masters, Scrum sessions. So when I say quarterly, quarterly is when we got together in a room. But that doesn't mean that for the 3 months we just went away, did what we need to do, forgot about it, and then come back. No, this once we had the decision and then we had the roadmap and execution, we had the Scrum Master and the project manager literally hounding us, saying, where are we with this? Where are we with this? And we used to meet weekly. Then eventually we had a rollout, and rollout was not easy. It came with some issues, right? What you think you would get, what you want is a little different. But all these things didn't happen in a vacuum. And this is where Fluid Topics as a vendor was part of this whole discovery process, execution process, and rollout. And one of the things that we did, even when we have to roll out, is that we wanted to go through a proof of concept. We want to do a beta before we roll out. Rollout is a production rollout. Here, everything that we want to meet as a use case, we work with Fabrice and told them, we want this scene. It's not in the paper. You can get it done. As you said, oh, we can do it. No, we want to see how it's done. And we made sure we had a stage environment where all our 21 use cases from the many we had, we knew it was going to be implemented, and we ran the whole use case and made sure everything is perfect before we rolled out. Rolling out was a fantastic. Our executives got a feel of it. They came in as part of usability testers. This is very important. You need to have a usability testing, right? They jumped in. We had people from different walks of life within Hitachi. We had the support guys come in. We had the marketing guys come in. We had our actual users come in and give us a thumbs up before we rolled out. Which means that when we rolled out, everyone knew about it. So the drum roll was not something that people said, what is this all about? Oh my God, do I have to make a change? No, everyone knew about this. So when we really made a big announcement and we made the C-suite actually make this announcement, actually our CFO and our CPO make the announcement, it was like, oh, we knew it was coming. It's not something new, but we understand. So here we are with a new revamped Hitachi Vantara documentation portal. It's docs.hitachivantara.com. What was our mission? Deliver a unified portal to host product documentation that allows users to access content at every touch point. We want them to interact with us, right? So this is the overall portal. And one of the main things what our customers said is that in the previous portal was too many clicks, we lose you. And that's it. After 2 or 3 clicks, they just walk away, right? Here we made it very clear is that anytime you want to reach our content, if you go through our browser and the way I have laid out as a navigation experience, it's just 3 clicks. Well, that is if you go through our navigation in the browse portal, in the portal. But if you do a search on Google, you do a search right here in this, it's 1 click. That's it. So we continue to monitor these clicks because that is our SLA, right? We have to have our customers reach content within a click. That is our thing. And if that is not achieved, we have a problem. So, and we achieved that. And even now, every quarter, we continue to measure. Like, where are our users coming? Are they coming here and then going with the way we have designed, or they just come here, search, and they get directly to the content? And Fluid Topics has this analytics toolkit that you can use to say where your customers land on your portal. And how did they come? Did they come organically? They come from a referred portal? All this is very important for us to get these insights. And we have been on this portal for almost a year and a half. Now we are getting insights, and it's data driven for us. So we make these changes based on what users tell us, their behaviors.
Because what I see here, the screenshots you're showing, as far as I remember, these are not the screenshots from when you released the portal a year ago. So what happened? Because they're pretty new, no? Remember you had trees.
We had a mountain because we were going with a
on the portal. So I realized that it's not the same. So what happened?
It is again data-driven insight. So we had that tree and the sustainability thing that we are not killing any trees. It's all online content you can search and things like that. We had it on for almost a year. Just the past quarter, we looked into our insights because you need 1 year worth of data to really do some data-driven changes, right? We looked at it 1 year and we found how people come to the portal and do what they need to do. They wanted our products right up there rather than search through where our products lie. And they also wanted a new experience. And this was also the time when Hitachi Vantara came up with new design. for everything within the company. So we match with what you see on HitachiVantara.com, what you see on the various portals. We wanted to get this unified experience. But on top of it, we wanted to keep our content fresh. We also wanted to keep our portal fresh. And you do this fresh and everything is when you keeping it updated, revise, bring something new, toss it out there, and there is a wow moment. But with all this design that we brought in, we did not change the way content and the metadata is set up. So for example, if a customer comes and he or she does the same search here, you're going to get the content, whatever we change as a design. But we changed a little because based on what customers were looking at, where their products are, how do they come there, so we said, let's take all this and make it easier for them to see.
Okay, that's interesting, because if I understand well, not only did you change the branding to realign with the new corporate branding, but at the same time, you've changed the revamped the entire navigation based on the insights, the analytics you get. So it's like not just the colors, including the whole UX navigation scheme has been updated after a year based on that, which is pretty unusual because we see customers that spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 9 months on a project, they roll that out and then they leave it as is for a year, 2 years, 3 years, because they move to another project. In your case, you're telling us that after a year, 18 months, you had enough data and insight to start revamping the UX to fine-tune it to the real behavior of your users.
Exactly. And every time you go to any site, you need to keep it fresh. That wow moment, you need to have it set up, right? But we did not change the way data is served at the end of the day, right? People search, they come to the content, still one-click experience. But this experience is basically to say, you have told us that you have certain products that is high for us and for our company also. So we completely changed the way the products are listed. We came to know people are, the search terms that you have, Fabrice, on your platform. We took those insights, how people are searching. They're searching on products. So let's make it easy for them for a list of products, alphabetical list of products, right? So a lot of insights were gained. And as you know, changing any UX experience is not simple. But again, I attribute this success to my tools team. And the designs came from our design thinking, product design. So when the company was going through this branding exercise, they also kept us in the loop and say, we are bringing these changes. And we said, let's be part of that wave. Right. So we took that opportune moment, and this is exactly going back to the definition of kairos. When is it? Always look at that decisive and opportunity that you get to make this change. And it was easy, Fabrice, because you have given us custom designers, the page designers, right? So we use that and made sure we bring in the actual elements to have this set up in this way.
Okay. I have another question for you there. Here, once you have deployed, you said you're tracking the behavior of the users. But besides that, do you measure and track a report to your management? How do you report the success of your portal? How do people track that internally? Not you, the behavior of your users to adapt and fine-tune your portal, but how does the company, not you as a group, but the company, and how do you report to the company the impact you have? Is that something that you are like regularly in touch with, I don't know, customer support, and they can say, oh, when you made that change, or you change the content that way, not just the portal, but that can be the content itself, yes, or the data, whatever you do on your content and your delivery. Are you measuring the impact it has, or do you have reports or communications with other divisions, yes, or groups like customer support, customer success technicians to see the entire, how everything clicks together?
Yes, definitely. It's important, right? Management has invested in this and they need to get ROI. ROI is very important for everyone in the C-suite. What's the return of investment, right? So every quarter, we actually create reports. So coming from the analytics toolkit, we export information. We also get some information because our marketing team also has quite a few tools that they run on all the customer touch points, including my portal here. So we get these reports and we publish it every quarter to everyone. So, but the most important about that is it's a push, right? We don't know how many of them are really utilizing it. But what we do is that we also make this report as one of the many dimensions for the product team to understand what is a heat map of the usage of their product. I'm not putting product code over here, but I'm writing documentation for a product. So when the product managers come and say, how many people downloaded the product code, how are they using it, and things like that, one of the metric or one of the dimensions for them about the heat map of the product also comes from the documentation for that particular product. So they see what is the user traffic coming into that particular documentation for that particular product. And then they say, oh, wow, we got a spike. So this basically attributes the type of the releases they make. If a release is very heavy with a lot of very good features, which are money makers, you can see it is proportional that there is a steep hike even to the documentation. As we all know on the call is that earlier, some 20 years back, documentation was an afterthought. It was a support tool, right? Now it's completely changed. Documentation has become one of the selling points. So when that is what our product teams told us and our sales team told us is that when they go to a prospective customer and tell them, hey, we have a product, let me give you some demo, the product team will say, okay, that's fine. They actually come to our portal, which is open, and to say, exactly, let me look at the architecture of this product. What are the system requirements? How does it really work? And if we have videos, they actually look at all this, and then it converts into a deal. So we are one of those dimensions that they look at before they say we want a new product, or if a brand new version of the product comes, they actually look into the content to say, this is very good. Let me go pick up the new version.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, feeding back the product department by looking at the content conception and turning content conception into product feedback. I think that's interesting. Okay, thanks.
It is very good. And the whole thing is that we also, as part of your analytics toolkit, you also tell us what are the top topics, right? What are the top content? We also share with them. So, for example, if there is a feature that's coming out that's touted to be a very big feature, they push it out. Then we give them the insights. Well, it was touted as a major feature, but we don't seem to have any foot traffic, right? For the topic that we wrote about that feature. So this also goes back into the product managers, and they always ask for this metric and say, hey, documentation team, can you give us how exactly my product fared?
Cool. Love it.
So this is a slide that we always say, whatever the best vendor you have the best portal, everything, and you have the AI tools, which we know all of us have to think about AI in our daily life, even drinking a cup of coffee, anything, right? It's become a disruptive thing, but AI can be a friend, right? Everything is good, but is only when your content is good. That's the most important thing, right? AI can only do things if your content is good. It is not going to create content for you if there's no content exists, right? At the end of the day, it's all hallucinations. So for us and all of us here on the call, and if you're all technical writers, this is the most important thing. The great content experience. You need to have a good content to give it, to empower your customers and the experience. So that's my first part of this presentation, or this snake kind of a thing, is it's all about content. Start and end with content. It's important. Identify your data sources, identify content that's usable, relevant, and actively used. So all these insights that you get, which topics are the most, which topics are not read, continue to change that. Continue to look into those insights and redo your strategy. You have to define your doc retention. Do not put content that is 5 versions old, 6 versions old. Stale content will never be used, right? Then enable search first. Gone are the ways people navigate your website the way you tell them to. No way. People have no time to look into how you have set up your content, how beautiful your site is. They're all about search. They'll come from Google. They'll come from various, search engines, or they may come to your portal and click on that search button. They want to get to your content within a click. If they don't get the content what they require, they're going to bounce off, right? Then define an effective information taxonomy. Everything about this taxonomy is a blueprint of your content. How are you tying your taxonomy? And you should be very clear about that. The taxonomy that you come out with is the same taxonomy that every other touch point, of your company, your .com, your support, your anything else, partner portal or something, are all on the same taxonomy. If you call a product an apple, it is an apple across all. It cannot be an orange. So this is very important. So we put in a lot of effort in this taxonomy because there is beautiful content, and if you have to enable search, it's all the metadata in the backend. Then infobesity, right? This is something you just keep putting content over content over content because that's our bread and butter. But you really need to look back into your insights. What is an effective content? And again, going back to our first mission is create content and give the content for the right audience, right? That is important. Just let's not create a lot of content and no one is using it, right? So try to eliminate. Then taxonomy and user-centric site. You need to make sure that you are defining a portal for your end users, not for yourself, not for your engineers within the company, but it is for your users, and continue to iterate on what you get to see how your portal fares. Are you doing the right strategy? Change often. So this is what we have right now, metadata-driven organization. Content is tagged and structured for easy. If you ask us how our content is developed, 90% of the content is in data. 10% is not. As I said, more mergers and acquisition brings in content that we cannot pull in into data immediately, but over a period of time, we also have unstructured content. But we tag each and every them, whether it is coming from structured or unstructured, each and every content is tagged. We have a very good taxonomy. Then search, we are going into, going back to Fabrice. Anytime they bring in the new ones, we looked at it. Is it very close to how Google search algorithm is, which of course they don't share. Google doesn't share. So we also look into this and or what kind of searches, because we don't want searches put out with a million, hits and people say, okay, out of this, which one is mine? Give them more about smaller searches, and then they can use the metadata and everything to search more. Translation and localization has become very important for us because we do sell our products in the Japan market and we do sell our products in the global market. So we have to make sure that our content is translated, localized, but we are looking at not on-the-fly translation because we are writing technical documentation. We need to be very careful that the translation doesn't mess up with what we have written. So we are looking at translating our content and pulling this in as a publishing process. The last one is a real-time feedback. You are not going to change the way the content is there unless people give you feedback. Are you in the right direction? You have issues. It can be technical issues and the gaps in the content. Sometimes it can be something else. We cannot wait for, tapping into the portal and saying, okay, who gave what feedback? We want this iterative. We have a policy within our company and within our team that any feedback comes within 24 hours, you have to respond. And how can we make that possible is only when we can tap the feedback that's left on the portal back into our tracking system, which is Jira. We use Jira within our team to get every feedback. It gets assigned automatically to the writer who works on that particular product, and they are given an SLA, 24 hours. You have to respond to the customer and say, I have your feedback. Thank you. I'm going to work on it. So this is very important for us, and this was one of our top use cases when we shared the use case with Fabrice when he had the first sales pitch with us. It needs to be automated. We have no humans in the loop looking at all these things. These are the things that we consider as busy work and needs to be automated. We need to get feedback real time into our system so that we can go ahead and fix the data and we do it fresh. We have a CI/CD pipelines that as and when we get feedback, we can refresh our content immediately. So future in works, I'm again going to build out the slide here. One of the things that again came from our partners and customers is that you have beautiful API content. It's offline. Can we get a developer experience when you put out your APIs? As I said, this company is an API first company. So all the APIs need to be given to our partners and customers so that they can develop it, they can extend it to their use cases. So when we were giving them HTML documentation and PDF API reference documentation news guys, they would say, these are all very good, but can I get something like a Swagger interface? Some of you who are API developers on the call, you know how easy our customers always want the Swagger ones so that they can go and get the code out and they can also try the thing. And when we shared this use case with Fluid Topics, they said, yes, we have something in works because we have several other companies who are looking at it. So we came up, so we have this delivered now thanks to the Fluid Topics team. So all we do from our developers is give us the YAML and JSON files or Markdown. Give us those APIs. We got a connector from Fluid Topics that we run this YAML file and it just delivers in open API specs, which is nothing but Swagger. The good part of it is that if you have your code in the YAML in curl, the connector that is offered from Fluid Topics gives you in 7 different auto-generated languages. So it's not only YAML, it gives you in other languages that you want. So people are very happy to download these, run their thing. We also give them schema. Schema is nothing but YAML and JSON files. And we also give them sample code. Because when you tell your customers and partners, go ahead and use our endpoints, they need some kind of, okay, how do I get started, right? Can you give me some sample code? For some of your basic operations. So we started giving them sample code that they can download from the same portal. They don't have to go anywhere. So now you have code in 9 languages, sample code. You have the actual sample code itself. And then there are people who want to say, oh, I like to do offline reading. We also give them the PDF and HTML. So this has been a great thing. Our product CPO has pushed it out that this is a must for all products that go out on the documentation portal. So engineers are now flocking and basically telling us, hey, I want this experience. And here we have a JSON file, we have an API sample code and things like that. This has been a huge thing for us. And then in everyone's mind, the Gen AI assistant, okay, AI, I need to do something AI on my portal. I need to have that buzzword somewhere, AI ready I am. We are taking a little bit of a time to really understand. We don't want to be out there with everyone else. Oh, we have AI, we are AI, we are AI. We really want to understand what is AI for us. And we are going through that same design thinking about what is AI for us? What are we trying to bring in as use cases, AI for our customers? How are our customers going to be served if we say, I have a nifty AI assistant, go ahead and use it? What exactly it's doing, what we are not doing now. So we are looking at some of the use cases that we think is that maybe it's integrating content which is now in silos. Silos, when I say we have product documentation for Apple, we have product documentation for Orange, we have product documentation for Kiwis, right? But when there is a customer who buys all these 3 products, they are not getting that experience because the product documentation is set up separately for these 3. Will AI help us do that? Like if customer goes and puts in the prompt, can you give me a documentation from Apple and a feature that also works in Kiwi and then integrated with Orange? Maybe we haven't tried that. Maybe that's a use case for us. And then self-service and streamline is just something that we can also deliver as personalized content, right? So we have had several discussions with Fabrice. He has given us very good demos. We're also looking at, because his platform also is bring your own um, LLMs. Do we go with Llama? Do we go with this? Do we go that? So we are an AI company, Hitachi is. So we are working with our AI team to really understand what is in it for us. Do we bring our own LLM? What does that mean? Because LLM, if you bring in and if you have to have Gen AI assistant, you need to, the infrastructure should be ready for this, right? So we are still looking at it. Um, we are really considering these use cases because this also requires funding. Okay, it's not coming free. You need to invest in LLM. You have to do something and all that. We have to really present what is Gen AI for documentation before we go there. But that is there. Since number one was API, we did that. Our focus has changed to Gen AI assistant, and we had a workshop last month where these core 7 people again met and literally talking about Gen AI. What is it for us? We went back to the whiteboard. Same thing about the design thinking. Why do we need it? Is this like a candy? And all that stuff. We started that. Again, we have Jira system looking into tickets. We have a project manager looking into it to see if we can go through. But we are in a discovery phase right now. The last one is personalized content. Give customers, whoever comes in, especially people who log into the portal, not any person who just comes in, to understand what products they bought from Hitachi so that we serve up the content for only those. But if the customer wants, oh, I have this content, not a problem. I also want to see something else, is up to the customer, but we want to deliver. Moment they log in, we capture their login, understand what products they bought, and we give them the content personalized in the way they want. That is number 3 for us. So this is what is in future for us. AI is a hot topic for us, but we are not going too quick on it. We really need to understand, because this also requires for me to go up to the C-suite and ask for more money. I need to be really tactical, right, about this. And I need to understand what is in for me when we put out an AI.
That's very interesting what you share here with AI, because maybe a year ago, we saw some other customer or many companies were like in panic mode. We need to do something. And now we see that the time has changed, and now companies are more like, let's think what we want to do and make sure that what we create brings value, and more value than troubles, I would say, even because the quality is not always there. And now there are some feedback from companies having implemented and failed a bit at implementing. Many failed, we must say. And so now we see most of our customers are more cautious and more evaluating first and thinking what is really the thing we need with the features that create value, and not overload the UI with bells and whistles that are useless to customers and are more like ruining the experience than bringing sheer value and helping the customers. That's interesting that you are more on this side of let's think first and not just rush into it without exactly knowing what we want from it and define what success would be with AI.
Exactly. We don't want to be in the bandwagon of we are AI, we are AI, we have AI. Yes, everyone thinks there is AI, but how do you we really want to think about it and go a step back and look at, are we ready for AI, and what does it mean for us? What are the use cases? And we know when we are ready, your platform is ready for it. So we have no problem unless, if you say, okay, we are ready and the vendor is not ready, we have a problem, right? But it's the other way around. You guys are ready, but we need to really be careful about what do we think and that we need as part of this AI time.
Okay. I got questions for you, one from Nuria. And she's asking, with content from different sources, which obviously you have, how do you manage taxonomy in the authoring tool and in free topics? Do you have a common taxonomy that you use in all the tools, or do you have to map and consolidate different taxonomies from different sources? So what is your taxonomy effort? Do you have like different taxonomies from different departments, different product lines? Then you have to reorganize that, or is it one corporate-wide taxonomy? So how does taxonomy works at Hitachi Vantara?
Yeah, it's a corporate-wide taxonomy.
Okay.
When we started the portal, it was a fractured taxonomy. Marketing had one, support had something else. That's what I said. When they called it Apple, we called it Orange, and maybe support called it Kiwi, right? And also, as we all know in our companies, we have the actual names, the internal names, the acronyms, and all that. And that did not go very well. And the way they structured the taxonomy, also they had categories. The marketing has categories. So when you go to your company, they say if you have 15 products, they put it in maybe in my company it's like data protection or acquire more data. Or the third one is cloud services. So they are categories that marketing comes up and the products are put under these categories. So we started with that. Let's put categories and then have the products. So that was our first release that Fabrice is with, where we had the mountains and the trees. We found out that people don't care about categories. We don't sell categories, we sell products, right? So people know product name, not the category under it. Is for maybe marketing, it makes sense, but for us, it is more about product documentation, not category documentation. So we went ahead and got rid of these categories and put all the products as the number one that they can search on as part of the taxonomy. And then we brought in the taxonomy. So then we went ahead and one deeper level as to what else is there. So then the corporate caught up and said, we have way too many people calling different things. So we brought up this corporate taxonomy. Now everyone uses it, the same tax. Whenever they change something, we get to know about it. And our taxonomy, where we have included, is at the portal. In our documentation, we definitely have product name and type and things like that. But most of the taxonomy, the way things need to work on the portal, we kept it at the portal end.
Okay. Next question from Daruburi, which was asking, great to see how you and your team transform the content delivery experience to your customers.
Okay.
But how did you manage this change with internal teams and with customers? What was the change management process? Like, was it difficult typically when you rolled out, whether that was internal or then for your customers, they were like shocked by, oh, it's not the same tool, some complained? Or did you warn them in advance? Did you do videos, or how did you manage all that? What was the process?
Yes. It was a mixed emotions, but I would say one thing. But as I said, as part of before you roll out, make some noise about it, right? Let people know. Have some of these people who can be the people who will make a lot of noise, and that will be your support team, right? They're so used to, even if it was a complicated thing, they got used to it, right? They said, might as well live with the pain than with something new, right? Because change is difficult as humans. So who are the people who are great allies? Who are the people who will definitely the noisemakers, right? Who will scream the loudest within your company? And we knew all who these people are because we had these discussions with them. So before we said we are going to come with something new, we started talking to them as part of a discovery session. We went to the marketing team, we went to the sales team, we went to every team. And I'll let you know that I did not know so many teams existed in my own company. Right. So when I went on these discovery sessions, I told them what we are coming out with, why we are doing this, gave them some marks, and got them to be part of this journey with me. Okay, made them understand, had them give us their pain points. If we move, what is going to happen? Right? So we started internally first because that's the first thing that you have to do is that get your people to align with what you are delivering. So when it comes out, they're saying, we know about it. This is fantastic. And we invited quite a few people, especially the noisemakers and people who scream the loudest into our final usability testing of our product, of the portal on our state and say, go ahead. And they they went ahead and gave us some issues, but they were not very high priority that we need to change, go back to our whiteboard and say, oh my God, our experience is so bad. No, we made that as, hey, this is good, but do you think we should stop from releasing? And they said, no, 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 this is something, if you can track it as something that you will provide going forward, they were all okay with it. Now, the customers and partners, right? That was a huge deal. So when we released it, we had few partners. And so the good thing about the partners that we work with is that they're under NDA. We talk to them very regularly, not about the portal, but also about products. And they are part of a co-creation exercise about content. We invite them to review our content. They are definitely under NDA. So when we talked to them, the first thing that they came and told us that we have so many bookmarks of your content in the old portal. They are all going to break. Yes, it's going to break. They are going to break, right? So we told them, okay, I will help you with your bookmarks. So they gave us their bookmarks. We very painfully and actually went ahead and gave them the bookmarks for some of their things. We changed into what are the new bookmarks are going to be for the new portal. Even with doing all this, we had to have the two portals running for at least 3 to 4 months, while there are some teams who didn't want to share their bookmarks with them, wanted to do these changes themselves. So that was a painful thing where we had two portals. And when you have two portals that say the same thing, all the browsers or the search engines who come to your portal, they will not take in your new portal, right? They will always go with the trusted one. The trusted one was the one that was there for a very long time that we are replacing with. So it was very painful for us to see that Google is not coming to the new portal. So when we used to do our own searches for our product names and the functionalities on the Google, it will still show us the old portal. That was very painful to us because we were getting a huge traffic on our old portal and we want the whole traffic to move to the new ones. And that did not happen overnight until after 3 months, we kind of went down on a sunset on our old portal, and even then it took Google a long time to come, and now we see the bot coming every week. And our content, if you go now and search for anything about our content, it's all about our new documentation portal. So to answer your questions, I may have diverged a little, is that you need to keep, the empathy is pretty high. At the same time, be a little bit and develop a thicker skin. There are people who will come up when we rolled out. I know the first day we rolled out, we made plenty of noise. We were all in the same room, hugging each other. We did it, and then we had people coming in. We had a small party. But at the same time, as we released it, when we started getting kudos from our C-suite members, we also got some people coming and say, I just don't like this portal. There's a lot of things that need to change. Oh my God, this is going to be too much. We said we knew there will be at least 10% of the people who may not be ready for change, right? So you're right, we came up with a video and we called this what are the use case? What do you see differently with this portal? And we stuck it up. We stuck it to the portal and say, here to use the new portal. We kept it, and now we don't have any use for it. We actually got rid of the video. But yes, there is mixed emotions. There are people who are giving you kudos and some people who are resistant to change. But it took a while for them. We continue to work with them, and now they're all fine. Change is a difficult thing for all of us. So
Always.
we knew when we went through it, we will be getting some kind of these things.
Okay. Question from Ryan. It's about in-product help, like beyond what you've done, transitioning from PDF static HTML to cloud-based delivery. Question is, are you interested in serving up in-product help? Meaning that I guess that your product has web interfaces, there's a UI to configuring the product. Do you use free topics for that? Have you connected? We know some customers have, so it's possible, but did you, or is that part of the plan to serve the content directly in your applications?
That's a very good thing. I think that was one of the use cases when we met with Fully Topics, like how do I keep my in-product help dynamic, right? And ready to go. We haven't invested in that just yet. Most of our customers are dark sites, and if you see, when I say dark site, is that they actually are very much on-prem, and because ours is a storage company, and most of the things that they storage, especially with big banks and all, they store a lot of your information there. They don't want anyone accessing the content or the product from outside the internet. So we call these products or the sites, we call them as dark sites. It's really not dark, but they are cut off from the internet. In that case, we can't have the help content served up outside the
Yeah, makes
product,
sense. Totally makes
right?
sense. Okay.
But for our cloud services, the cloud products that we have, well, the product itself is on the cloud. It says as a service. Yes, we did not put in help in there, but when someone clicks on the help on in that cloud, it actually goes directly to
Okay.
that product on our portal. So
So
they
you
are
link
safe.
to the portal, but you don't embed yet. Okay. Get it.
Yes.
Another question from Dalgori with saying, how did you deal with the legacy content? What was your content strategy when you decided to roll out the new portal? Meaning that you had content quite old published in the previous portals, and then you took this opportunity to sort of deprecate some of that content, but you still had to keep it. It's like, did you migrate that content? We see some customers, I can give you an idea here. We have customers that after some time, we turn legacy content from live content into PDFs, and we just put the PDFs. Sort of an archiving way of doing, see what I mean? It's like instead of keeping it fancy live HTML UI based, it's like they turn some old versions of their content into PDFs, just put the PDFs and say, okay, if people need it, they'll find it through PDFs. It's not the same experience, but the way of creating this archiving system, how did you manage that yourself?
Yeah. With many companies like our company, we don't have one size fits all kind of a thing. Like whenever they say, what is the product life cycle matrix? So what is your version? Is with the cloud, it's always an N. But if you have a product that is installed, then what is that? What is the supportability? Is it N-2? Is it N-3? Is it N-5? We don't have one policy, and that's something we found out when we were getting deep into this. It's not some products at N-10, some products at N-2. So what we decided to come up with a policy, especially for most of our products, not the core products, is that we go N-2. That means at any point in time, you get access to 3 versions of a content, right? Now it came to a point, and you're very right to say that we have to align with first is the support. Is your product actively supported? What does that mean when it is actively supported? It can be the 10th version of the 10 versions of the product that are actively supported. And yes, we have that use case in ours. So we worked with the support team to say, we are going to present on our portal, and it will be very soon now, but currently we go with N-2. But going forward, when someone comes to our documentation portal who doesn't log in, and we call them as anonymous users, people who are just coming in to understand what Hitachi Vantara does, the documentation part of it, we're going to give them only the N version, because that is the most important thing. When someone is coming as to find out what we are selling, what is a document, they want to see the latest version of the content that they can buy the product for. So we're going with N. Now we have a policy where when person logs in, whether it's a customer or a partner, right? We showed them the versions of the content that is supported, which can be like 10 versions, and it can be 1 version. That makes us deliver a whole lot of content. We don't migrate, we publish, right? We don't migrate. We did not migrate anything from the old portal to the new. It's all publishing pipelines. We published new to this new portal. That brought us to a thing that we have way too much content, and then you're charged for how much content you put on the fluid topics, right? So we came up with what you very clearly said, Fabrice. We want these users who are on the 10th version of the product to go up, and that's exactly product team and the support team is pushing them. Move on to the latest version, guys. It's very difficult for us to support you. So we are also getting in there and making it difficult for them to get to the 10th version and giving them only PDFs. So they can search for content as an HTML for the 10th version of the product. Yes, you're right. We are going to go with PDFs.
So the way of compressing and archiving and like create
Yeah,
some
and making
reference.
it not very difficult. I would say making it literally hard on the
Yes,
customer. Say,
acceptable.
please move to the latest version. We have all the bells and whistles in the latest ones. Why we are stuck? So this is one way of pushing from every angle, right? From documentation, from product managers, from support. Move on to the latest version.
Okay. I think we are reaching the end of this discussion. We had the Q&A we went through, so I didn't skip any. So Jyoti, thank you so much for having shared that. Plus, you said nice thing about us, which was not part of the plan. So thank you very much. But the idea was really, and I appreciate the fact that you shared this journey, because I think there's nothing easy. It's like, I like the fact that you say, yes, some people will complain. This is not. It's never, regardless of the solution you choose, the vendor you choose, your content, the maturity of your content. It's never ever as simple, as immediate as you think transitioning to something new, just because of change management, for example. So I like the fact that you shared that honestly and transparently, because that's the case. It's always, that's an effort, requires work.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And hopefully, whatever I shared, it's all pretty straightforward and exactly what we did. And I was part of this process. I was able to give you all the responses. So at any point in time you feel I know you need to connect with us, please reach out. We are at hitachivantara.com. And we will be able to provide more information, even not about just working with the vendor, but any documentation strategies. We follow CIDM a lot for any of those things that come up, like Dana Aubin's. Some of us before we even went to doing this taxonomy, we went on a 3-week course with Dana about what is taxonomy, how do you control your taxonomy and the metadata. So everything comes out, and that's why I wanted to come to this community and talk about it. As we are all technical writers, we need to tap into these communities to see where the technology is going, what companies are doing, and where we are. Thank you. Thank you very much, Fabrice and Trish, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.